everyone, hope we're all doing well. I've got a question. Where the fuck is Rafael Fiziev? Now, the last time that we saw Fiziev in the octagon, it was 500 and plus days ago. 500 and plus days ago. As I'm recording this, 509. As I upload it, probably 510. The days keep on going on, and we've yet to see Fiziev back in the octagon. And what pisses me off about this, I swear he's raring to go. I swear he's ready to get back in the octagon, and just nothing's happening. Now, the last time that we did see Rafael Fiziev, he wasn't doing the best. I mean, he's coming off of 2 losses now, but when you actually take a closer look at those losses, I feel like you can have a bit of leeway with him, considering he was on a winning streak beforehand. Then he came across Justin Gaethje at UFC Fight Night London. No, it was a pay-per-view, sorry. The Leon and Usman trilogy match, which was in London. They served as a co-main, I believe. And it was an absolute banger between Fiziev and Justin Gaethje. A massive step up for Fiziev and a big risk for Justin Gaethje. And they delivered an absolute banger. I think Fiziev took the first round. Justin Gaethje took the last 2 rounds. I wish it was a 5-round bout, but it wasn't. And it was an absolute great contest, a clear 29-28 for Justin Gaethje in my opinion, but Fiziev proved that he could hang in there with the elite of the lightweight division. Yes, he took the loss, but it wasn't like he was completely done in. He had a lot of moments of success against Justin Gaethje, and then was just struggling against Gaethje's jab in the later rounds. But then he came back against Gamrot, a grappler, the stinky grappler of Gamrot, the stinky fighter that is Mateus Gamrot. In the first round, I can't exactly remember how it played out. I think it was quite contested. Gamrot wasn't able to take down Fiziev at will, and then in the second round his knee blew out, or he got some sort of leg injury, and it leaves a sour taste in your mouth because we haven't seen him since. And when you lose a fight due to injury, it just always leaves a sour taste. It was like when Tom Aspinall blew his knee out against Curtis Blades within 10 seconds, or when Calvin Kattar's leg blew out against Arnold Allen after a competitive first round. It always sucks and no one likes to see it, but now that it's been 500 plus days, where is he? And the reason why it bothers me so much is because he's one of my favourite fighters on the entire UFC roster. Not just the lightweight roster, but the entirety of the UFC roster. His style is just one of those styles that I always lean towards. I always love that sort of style. Very fast-paced, very explosive, very just fun to watch. He's always in bangers. I love watching Fiziev, and we just haven't seen him in so long, and it's just it's just gutting knowing we haven't seen him in such a long time, considering he's one of the most fun fighters in that lightweight division, which says a lot about Fiziev, considering there's so many fun fighters in that stacked weight division. I think another reason why this annoys me is not because it's been so long, but also because it feels like we could match him up. There's plenty of names outside the top 5 of the lightweight division who haven't got a fight scheduled. Plenty of them. I'm going to go through them, but I just feel like, what are we fucking about out here? Are we stacking a load of lightweights on just one card or something? Like, what's the fucking plan? Because I haven't got a clue what's going on. Now, to the left of me, we've got the lightweight rankings, and as we can see, we've got Rafael Fiziev at ranked 11th, which isn't that bad considering he's been out for 500 days. But regardless, let's go through the lightweight rankings and see who we should fight next. So, number 15, Grant Dawson. No, he just entered the top 15 rankings, and before that was Joel Alvarez. So, it wouldn't really make much sense to have Grant Dawson go and fight Fiziev, especially for Fiziev's comeback fight, in my opinion. And it's just not that mouth-watering. So, I don't think that's the best of matchups for Fiziev compared to others. We've then got Benoit Saint-Denis at 14th. Now, I think this fight would be a banger. I wouldn't mind this fight because Benoit's a bit of a bigger name now that he fought Dustin Poirier and Renato Moicano last year. He's grew his profile a lot more. But I don't want to see Benoit Saint-Denis in the octagon until later on this year. He suffered a lot of damage in 2024. He had a bad 2024. So I don't want to see him rush back in there and fight someone like Fiziev who can crack. I don't think that'll be the best. I think it'll be a fun fight. If I'm Benoit Saint-Denis, have a year off, see how I feel, recover a bit more, work on a few of those things, what led to you losing in 2024, and then come back later on this year, maybe for like Paris, because you love doing the Paris Fight Night card in September. After this, we've got Jalen Turner. I wouldn't mind this fight. This would be an absolute banger. It would be a very hard fight for both men, in my opinion. The last time we saw Jalen Turner was at UFC 300 when he lost to Renato Moicano. So it's almost been a year now since we haven't seen Jalen Turner. I wouldn't mind this fight at all. I think it would make sense. It would be a banger. I feel like Fiziev could get a bigger name and maybe someone higher up above him in the rankings. But Jalen Turner is still a decent name, but I think, yeah, I wouldn't mind that fight at all for a comeback fight. After this, we have Paddy Pimblett. Now, I want to see this fight, but I don't know if the UFC would want to risk Paddy fighting Fiziev. When Paddy has obviously got big plans to have bigger names, and the UFC are big on him because, you know, I'm a Scouser, we don't get knocked out and all that. They've got a raging hard on for Paddy right now, and I get it. He's very marketable, he's easy to promote and stuff like that, so they want him to get a bigger name out there. Fiziev probably wouldn't be the ideal candidate to give Paddy a fight against. Fiziev's got really good anti-grappling. He's a very good anti-grappler, and he's great on the feet, something that Paddy isn't. And do I feel like a win over Fiziev would do much for Paddy? Not necessarily compared to other people in that lightweight division. It would do a lot more for Fiziev, but I feel like the UFC are more on the bandwagon of Paddy than they are of Fiziev. So I don't think this fight would happen. I would like to see it, but I don't think we'll get to see it. After this, Moicano, that would be a rematch. I'd rather avoid it. I wouldn't mind it, I wouldn't be against it, but I don't want to see Moicano against Fiziev, the rematch, but I wouldn't be completely against it. That's still a good one. If they made it, I wouldn't moan about it. But Dariush and Fiziev, why not? Fuck it. I wasn't a big fan of Moicano fighting Dariush, because Moicano had a good 2024. He was on like a 3-fight winning streak and had a lot of momentum. Then he matched him up with Beneil, who hadn't fought since late 2023. It makes sense for Fiziev and Beneil, in my opinion. If you ask me, they're both coming off long layoffs, and they haven't met each other before, and it's a nice little styles clash of a grappler v striker. You know, the durability of Dariush is still quite questionable, but he's still got the skill. I wouldn't mind this fight at all, and I think it makes sense, and I think it's quite hard to get excited for a Beneil Dariush fight, especially in that lightweight division. We got plenty of fun names. It's kind of hard to be like, oh mate, I can't wait for Benny Boy to fight. Fiziev, people get excited about that. Fiziev brings something different. I think Beneil Dariush versus Fiziev is a comeback fight. Both have been inactive. Both haven't fought since late 2023. I wouldn't mind that fight at all, and I think that would be good matchmaking. After this, Gamrot the rematch. I would be all for that. I think that makes a lot of sense, Gamrot the rematch. I'm going to be completely honest. Gamrot's not really doing much right now. His last fight, who was it against? I think it was the Dan Hooker fight where he lost. Close fight, in all fairness. But make this rematch. We only saw one round of it, and then the injury happened. I wouldn't mind a rematch of this. Fight night main event. I wouldn't mind it. I think that's also a great option, and probably the option what makes the most sense, considering the first fight, again, we didn't really get a good conclusion, and that's what you want from when it comes to any fight, a solid conclusion, and we simply were robbed of that. So I think that would be a great one. Michael Chandler, yeah, Chandler doesn't deserve a big name. Fiziev isn't exactly a big name. That would be an absolute banger as well, because you know Chandler will just go to negative fight IQ like he does every fight, and refuse to try and fight smart, and refuse to try and grapple with him. He'll just try and strike with Fiziev, which would be a death sentence, but I would love to see it. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that fight either. I feel like all these three here, 7th, 8th, 9th, Dariush, Gamrot, Chandler, make a ton of sense, and I would like to see that for Fiziev. But again, maybe if the UFC don't want to treat Fiziev nicely, you got someone like Jalen Turner or someone like that. So those are the fights I think he should take. I think when you go into the top 5, you kind of can't warrant it. I don't think that's really fair. Like Dan Hooker's with Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway coming up to 55. Would it make sense for him versus Fiziev? Not really. It would be an absolute banger, but it wouldn't make sense. Not exactly. Dustin Poirier, Fiziev's not going to be a candidate for that retirement fight, let's be honest. Charles, that's not going to happen, let's be honest. These are just too high up to be plain and simple. But yeah, guys, those are just some of the fights that I think that Rafael Fiziev should come back to. And I feel like the UFC should make him soon, because it feels like there's fuck all going on in that lightweight division at the moment. But guys, let me know in the comments, who do you think Fiziev should fight next? Do you miss Fiziev like I do? I can't wait to see him back in the octagon. And how do you think he'll perform after having such a bad injury that he had that left him being inactive? Do you think ring rust will play a part? Let me know what your thoughts are on Rafael Fiziev and his comeback to the octagon. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.